Looks like the gang's getting back together.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, John.
I think that was Tammy.
That was Tammy.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to our weekly Zoom meeting. This week, we're going to be joined, and we'll get to her in just a moment, Anna Larson with Kentucky Skills U that deals with adult education. I know that they have a lot of programs that they are making available to adults across Kentucky and are seeking ways to be partnering with Head Start programs as you're working with parents who may themselves be seeking educational assistance. But before we do that, I want to kick it off with a few updates on our end here at KHSA. I sent some information out last week regarding our new job board that we have. And I hope that everyone has had a chance to look at that. If you haven't, I would encourage you to do so. But I promised this week that I would provide a very quick walkthrough of what that is. So if you can see my screen, you should be able to see KHSA's website. And the way this works is basically you go up here and it's going to pop up jobs. Now, if you click on jobs, it's going to take you to a listing of all of the jobs that are posted. So as you can see right now, we have 4 sample jobs that are posted there. These are just temporary so that you can see how the system works. And so if you're a job seeker, this is what you're going to see. You're going to show up and you're going to click on a job here at the fictitious Beaver Dam Head Start Academy. And it's going to give you all the information. It's going to give you their Twitter, their website. It's going to tell you about the position, when it was posted, when it's closing. And if you click apply for job, this particular instance, it's prompting you with an email. So you would send that email to the hiring manager. There are options though, if you have a website through which people can access job listings and actually apply. When they click that apply for job, it will take them to that website. So it's fairly seamless for the job seeker. And so they can go through here and search for different jobs. And it certainly is our hope that once we see this populated with actual jobs from the Head Start grantees across Kentucky, that they would be able to see the range of different positions that are available. And if they wanted to search by location, they could. They wanted to search with keyword or sort of a job status, they could. So that it's fairly intuitive. And I think that when you are looking at a job board from a job seeker point of view, this would be a fairly common way that they would interact with a job board. Now let's get to the part that I'm hopeful each of you will be more interested in, which is post a job. Now I realize that this is going to be different for each grantee. There are going to be some small grantees that are going to be able to do this themselves. There are going to be others that are part of a much larger bureaucracy in which your hiring is going to be handled by HR departments or specific hiring managers that may be outside of your program. So we want to make this as simple as possible. So on this particular one, you would actually go in, and if you don't have an account, if it's prompting you to sign in, that means you don't have an account. And that's okay, because you're going to have a chance to make one when we get finished. So you would actually go in and list all of the information, your email, the job title, not your job title, but the job title of the position, where it's located, is it full-time, part-time, temporary, all that. And then a spot here for you to paste in the job description and job responsibilities. It then provides you an opportunity to list information about the organization. Most of these are optional and you do not have to include them. Once you have done that, you will click preview, and it will take you to a screen and it will say, it looks like, John, you don't have an account. Would you like to create one? And so it's just going to ask me to stick my email in there one more time, and then it's going to create an account for me. So all of this is chronicled, and you should have each received this. So let me just show you what I clicked on. I clicked on this click here for KHSA Job Board User Guide. So if you click on that user guide, this is something we put together. It's going to take you through step by step with some images and links as to how to do all of this great stuff. So it's very simple to post a job. Once you have created an account, you will actually see, I'll sign in right here real quick so that you can see what that actually looks like. So now I'm signed in. And so you'll see up here, let me move this. You'll see up here, it says, howdy, Head Start. And so once you have gone through that process, you would actually click on the edit profile. This is before you leave, and you'll get to enter in a new password. Once you do all that and hit update profile, you now have a username and password for this particular site. And that will allow you then to go in and monitor, post, and then remove specific jobs. The last item I'll call your attention to is this employer dashboard. So let's imagine that Kim has 15 job openings and she has them posted on here and she has filled 2 of them. Well, she can now come in, and if they have been filled, she can mark them as filled or she can delete them. And so if it's deleted or marked filled, they will no longer appear on the job board, but there'll be a record of that listing here on that site. So you can go in and make changes to it. If you've posted a job and you realize that you left something out, you can go in and edit it. So again, it's certainly our hope that this becomes a useful tool for each of you as you are seeking to fill existing positions or new positions. The one thing I will say is that it really is incumbent upon the grantees to take advantage of it. If you find that it's difficult to use, we're certainly more than happy to get the information from you and to create that listing. Again, it doesn't take very long to do that. But I would encourage you to take a look at it, encourage you to play around with it when you have a moment or you have a position that you'd like to use as a sample. We will be promoting these not only on our website, but also on our social media channels, and then in a lot of the correspondence and other things that we're sending out over the next month or two to really promote the use of this. So having said all of that, are there any questions that folks may have? I realize I went through that rather quickly, but I think that this automated tool is something that I know you've been looking for, and it's something that I think we have tested enough that it's pretty foolproof, and you should be able to go in and see your jobs be posted, monitor them, and hopefully gain access to a wider applicant pool. So I'll open it up to any questions. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask if you have any. Okay. The other thing I would call your attention to is over, let's go back to the home page real quick. You will see this Head Start Contacts. This Head Start Contacts takes you to our online directory. This is the online directory that we asked programs to send us information. I believe it was the end of last year, beginning of this year. There are many programs that have provided information. There are others that have not. And so what I would encourage you to do is, if you have not submitted information, I would encourage you to send this contact information for your staff and your grantees. And I'll show you an example here. So if we click on Head Start Grantees, it's going to take us to the listing of the different grantees across the state. And so let's click on one that I know is populated, and we'll click on OVEC Shelbyville. And OVEC Shelbyville is going to provide us a listing of those KHSA members within that grantee. And so you'll see information here, job title, name, email address, information like that. This really provides you and your staff an opportunity to be in touch with other folks across the state that are in similar positions. If you're looking for somebody in a particular grantee, you want to ask the family services director a question and you don't quite know who that person is, this is a tool that you should be able to use to access that sort of information. However, what I will say is that the information is only as accurate as the updates we receive from grantees. If you haven't sent us information, we can't have it included, obviously, because we don't have it. On the other hand, we want to make sure that this information is updated on a regular basis. Now, there are a few different ways we can do that. We can either do it in such a way that you, as the grantee, fill out that information, or someone on your team does, or probably more easily, you can send us information to the association about additions and deletions to your staffing. So what I'm going to be doing in the new year is on a quarterly basis, I'm going to send you an update. I'm going to send you a request once every 3 months and say, hey, would you mind just taking a quick look at your staff listing and make sure it's still accurate? And if there are any changes that you need, just let us know. Any folks that have left or any folks that have joined, and we'll be happy to add them to it. Now, we have a few other parts here, Head Start committees and Head Start sections. Once our sections are stood up next year, we'll be able to populate this with information about not only our chairs, but also people that are participating with that. So if you're not in this area, if you haven't been using this database, I would encourage you to take a look at it. And it's over here in this Kentucky Head Start contacts on the homepage of the website. The other request that we have, again, has to do with the compensation study that we have been working on. Again, we've got about a third of the programs that have submitted information. Those of you that have not, I would encourage you to do so, because our analysis and reporting of that compensation and benefits data can only be as good as that which we receive from the grantees. So again, I'll send a reminder about that. I realize it's the end of the year. Folks are going to be out of the office. That's okay, but you'll have it when you come back in the new year. So with that, I want to kick it over to Christy to see if she has anything to share with us this morning, and then we'll go to Amanda.
Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you have a wonderful time with your families, however you're celebrating the holidays with them. I hope you enjoy that. We are gearing up for Polar Express tomorrow and Whoville on Wednesday night. So it's gonna be a lot of fun here at Paducah Head Start, and then we'll be ready for the Christmas season with our personal family. So I hope you take time to rest and relax and look forward to what the new year will bring. So it's going to be a great day. Stay healthy and stay positive, and I will turn it over to Amanda.
Thanks, Christy.
Well, I think mine's going to be pretty short as well. And I would just like to also say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to everybody out there. It's, for the most of us, going to be the last week of the year. So looking forward to moving into 2021. I don't really have any updates from our side at this point. As you guys probably know, things are starting to slow down for the end of the year. So I'm sure the next time we sit down together, I'll have lots of updates for you.
All right. One other update, I'll just remind folks, especially our executive committee members, I'll be sending a note to you today regarding our bylaws. Our committee was able to meet and wrap up its work last week.
2021
and let's
contact list.
There we go. So I'll be sending the executive committee members information about the bylaws, and then I will be sending to all of our board of director members information about the proposed bylaw changes before the end of the year. That will allow you ample time to review them once you're back in the office after New Year's. And that will also meet our 30-day notice requirement for our upcoming February 2nd Board of Directors meeting. All of that will be sent to you in a package, information about that meeting, as well as an agenda and information about the bylaw adjustments. So with that, I am happy to welcome Anna Larson with us. Anna is with Kentucky Skills U, and she and I have had many conversations, I think, over the last 12 to 18 months, sort of about Kentucky Skills U, many of the new programs that they have underway, and how there really are opportunities for Head Start programs to be benefiting from Kentucky Skills U, and how there can be some collaborations either on a local or regional basis. So Anna, I have made you a co-host so you can share your screen, and the floor is yours.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm going to attempt to do so. Let's see if this works. I think it's up.
We see it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for having me today. You know, I always welcome any opportunity that I can get to share the different things that we're doing in Kentucky Skills U. You all probably are more familiar with the term adult education, which we'll take that one as well. But I just wanted to kind of share some current initiatives with you that you might not be aware of, and just a little bit about numbers that really blew me away. Actually, I had no idea on some of the numbers of how many folks don't have their high school equivalency. And so I just want to go through real quick and share what it is and what we do. So adult education, why is it so important, right? So at the end of the day, it is really a fundamental barrier to a lot of people across their whole life, whether it's trying to help their children do their schoolwork, whether it's understanding work orders at the business that they work for. And so it's really, sometimes it can be a dirty word. Adult education can be misconstrued that way. And really what it is a gateway for folks to improve their basic skill sets and be able to have that go across all of the different aspects of their everyday lives. Just so that you know, we're actually, I was surprised when John and I were speaking because we are actually organized in a very similar fashion as Head Start. So we have 27 providers across the state of Kentucky. It's a competitive bidding process that we put out every 3 years. And we have services that are required in all 120 counties of the Commonwealth. And so as you can see on this chart, over half of our providers are KCTCS colleges that provide adult education services, which is really great because that helps to segue them into the next part of their journey, whether that is going to college or becoming gainfully employed. We also have educational cooperatives or boards of education that run our programming, as well as some consortiums of various partners. And then we have our one college or university, EKU actually, that provides services in 8 of the counties. And so this kind of gives you an idea of the way that our providers are organized. And you would think they would all be grouped the same with each color representing one of our 27 providers, but the way that the competitive bidding process goes, sometimes it doesn't work out quite that way. And so this kind of tells you how crazy it is, just trying to make sure that we're streamlining services and making them efficient across the Commonwealth. So just to give you a perspective, back in 2000, there were approximately 536,000 folks. And, you know, in Kentucky, we have probably about 4.4 million residents that did not have their high school equivalency. And if you jump forward to 2018, we were at about 327,000. Which is great that it's gone down. In the last couple of years, I think the last data I saw, we have gone up a little bit. We're almost at about 350,000. And we're looking at that window, that age group between 18 and 64 as our parameters for that group. So on average, if you look at the last 5 or so years, we enroll about 22,000 people that we provide services to, which is a lot, and it's great. But if we go to the next slide and we look at how many actually earned their GED, it's less than 3,000 of that 22,000. So that is really one of the biggest challenges that we have in adult education, is not only getting folks to come into the door, but keeping them and retaining them. And that's something that we have really put a lot of emphasis on in the last few years. And I'll go through that in just a second. So really, we have our 5 R's, which is actually recruiting students, relationship building, retaining them, results, which we hope will be either a skills gain or earning your GED, and then referring them on to other partners for additional services, whether it's going on to post-secondary education or trying to help them become gainfully employed. So one of the things that I've been tasked with, I started back with adult education in 2018. And prior to that, my entire career has been around workforce development and education. And so it's been really neat to look at things from a different lens. And I've definitely learned so much in the last 2.5 years about adult education and the challenges that we face. And we really have been trying to strengthen ties with all of our community partners, whether it be the workforce side, which is the one-stop career centers, or we've worked a lot with Department of Corrections, their reentry efforts, as well as probation and parole, and several other partners. And we just want to continue to, I call my team members Team Octopus, because we're just out there just trying to reach everybody that we can, and 8 arms aren't enough. We need more. And that's why we reach out to folks like you that can help us connect and hopefully be able to make that contact with someone who may very well need our services. So another thing that you might not know about is we have unlimited licenses for the WIN product line, which has 2 different pathways that you can take. One is your essential skills certificate, which is more of what most people refer to as soft skills type of thing. So communicating effectively, professionalism, teamwork, and then critical thinking. And then we also have a fundamental curriculum around math, locating information, and reading information. And these are all available online. They are free. You can work at your own pace. But it could be something that perhaps if someone's having a problem becoming gainfully employed, if they were to show that they were able to complete this certificate, that would be a great benefit, and the employer would see value in that. So another strategy that we implemented a few years back, where we require all of our providers to have what are called college and career navigators. And really, probably the way you would think about it would be more of like a success coach, your cheerleader, if you will, that is basically holding your hand and helping you through getting your GED and the struggles and the frustration that goes along with that, as well as being able to identify barriers and hopefully connect you with resources for those barriers. And so really that is their role. And we've amped that up over the last few years. And we found that it really does help for our students to have that person that they can count on. And maybe, if James hasn't come back to the center, we're reaching out to him saying, James, we haven't seen you since last Thursday. What's going on? Is there something I can help you with? And, we've also become part of a nationwide agenda that's called digital navigation to help our staff and our students become better at connecting through the internet, which is what all of us are doing now. So we're honing in on those skills as well. We also have partnered with several folks. A good example is the library system. There's, I think, 208 libraries across the Commonwealth, and many of them are what's called a connection point. So they can, patrons can come in and electronically connect to resources that we have, whether it's using it to study and to sharpen their math skills, or if it's just to connect with a counselor via Zoom and they don't have a camera, then we're able to partner with them as well. So this is what we don't want to see, right? Is an empty classroom. And unfortunately, right now, that is what we're seeing. We're in the same position that you all likely are, which is having to be really safe and secure when we're in personal connection with anybody. And so even if we do have students, what may have been 20 students at one time is now 2 or 3, because we just have to put the safety of them and ourselves first. So we want to see a classroom like this, and hopefully as we move into 2021, this will be starting up again. But so here's my question. So if you're a restaurant owner and no one's coming to your restaurant, what do you have to do? You have to go to the patrons, right? So you do a food truck. I know in our neighborhood, I live in Louisville, and we have food trucks that come to our neighborhood. And it's been great to be able to support local businesses as well as not have to cook all the time. But we're doing the same thing in adult education. We are really trying to go to the students. So it's not the traditional that you might think of. They have to come to the classroom Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 12, and they're going to work on this. we have really gone remote on everything. They can access their lessons, they can access their instructors, all from their home or wherever it is that they have connectivity to the internet. And we are really trying to become more and more robust in our efforts to move in that direction, because we know a lot of our students, adult students, have full-time jobs. You know, I was reading a story about a gentleman. He was 24 years old, working in the manufacturing industry, and he was working 12, 14-hour days, and just was like, you know, I'll just wait till after the first of the year, and then I'll go back because things are so crazy right now. And when he found out he could do it a little bit at a time, a little chunk at a time, I think it was easier for him to digest, to be able to take in, and it wasn't so overwhelming. So we're really excited to offer that opportunity. So a few things that you might not know about. We now, as of this summer in June, you can actually take your GED online. You don't have to go to a testing center anymore, which I think is great for a lot of reasons. We know our students may have already had a negative experience with school, and maybe that's why they didn't end up graduating in a traditional high school. But also there's test anxiety and other things that I'm hoping this will reduce for them. And they feel like it's more accessible and they're not being judged. So I think it's great. In case you didn't know, there are 4 sections of the GED, which go through language arts, which is basically reading, science, social studies, and mathematics. And you don't have to take them all at once. And that's a misconception a lot of people have. And I think that after taking 4 tests all at once, that can certainly be overwhelming. And so to know that if you're more comfortable and you feel like you've mastered perhaps the language arts section, maybe you do that first. And I know for me, it would be mathematics that I would do last. I still am not the best at that. But I really enjoy the fact knowing that people can do this from home. And here's the other good news. So right now we have free GED testing. So something that would have cost $120 for someone before is free if it's their first time taking that individual test. So as an example, the 4 tests, let's say that maybe they only took reading and math. Before, we wouldn't pay for the second time for them to take that, but we would pay for the first time to take social studies and science. And it's real easy. You can just go to our website and you can just plug in the information, and there's a code on there that allows them to take the test. And so that will go on until we run out of funding for it. We did it last year and had tremendous success. It's a barrier. A lot of people, I know you all probably know, like I do, that $120 for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. And if we can take that off of them, we're more than happy to do so. So, all right. Well, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, folks, we've heard a lot of information from Anna, and I know that we'll be able to share not only this PowerPoint deck, but also some other direct resources when I send out an update later today about the session. So, but any questions that folks have for Anna while we have her here with us? So, you know, a question that I've got, Anna, is have there been examples in the past where either Kentucky Skills U or perhaps its predecessor had successful collaborations with Head Start or Head Start-like programs?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because actually I had a local director, and it was an anonymous. We did a survey and it was anonymous, so I don't even know what area they're in. But one of the things that they had asked of my division, so we do outreach on behalf of the agency, and they specifically mentioned Head Start and asked how to connect with them. So I think that the interest is there. I think that we certainly understand the population that you serve, and know that it may be an aunt or an uncle or a parent or a grandparent even that may be interested in. But yes, I don't have a specific example today, John, but I can certainly inquire and get back with you on that.
Sure, absolutely. The other question I have is, and you might have addressed this a little bit, but are there ways, given the situation we are in right now with COVID-19 and a pandemic and remote learning, is Kentucky Skills U, I mean, really set up to handle that? Because I know that as we had talked before, there were a lot of centers around the state, and there were a lot of classrooms. And so is it really in a place now where not only the educational resources are provided, but is there that additional assistance, that sort of that nudge, that support that a lot of adult learners really need that they may get in person? Is there an increased consideration of that for remote learning?
Yes, actually there is. And we started a big push towards digital learning in, let's see, it would have been July 1st of 2020. Oh no, sorry, 2019. So before the pandemic even hit, we had already started that, because we knew that a lot of our clientele either have barriers with transportation or childcare or both. And we knew we had to reach them in a different way. And so we had pushed that agenda even before COVID hit. And now we've even gone further with it. I will tell you that, for example, all of the college and career navigators fall under my unit. There's 70 some of them across the state. And we have mandatory, I mean, they are required to connect with their students via Zoom, via text, via email, via phone, any way that they can. That is a must, and we monitor it. We have activity logs that we monitor on a monthly basis to make sure that that's happening, because that, you're 100% right. It's even harder when you're not seeing someone face. And actually one of our providers one of the directors had mentioned to us that that's their struggle, is things that they used to pick up on. For example, non-verbal cues, facial expressions, things that would have kind of led them into trying to figure out why that person's struggling and how they can help them. And they don't necessarily get that anymore. And so we're constantly doing professional learning opportunities for our instructors and for our navigators to help them with what I'm going to call grit and resilience of our students, really supporting them and getting them to the finish line and letting them know that they're not alone. Because I think all of us, at least myself, sometimes in this world, this new normal, if you will, it feels sometimes like you're alone, and we never want that to be the situation.
Excellent. Well, Anna, I really appreciate you making time to join us today. I know this is fantastic information, and with the resources that we have, we'll be able to get this out to the programs and perhaps revisit it again in the future. But we'll make sure that we're encouraging all Head Start grantees to take a look at this and see how they can incorporate these connections into their programs.
Terrific. And anyone, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share any information I can or answer any questions. So happy holidays to everyone. And I will go ahead and step off.
All right. Thanks, Anna. Happy holidays to you. Okay, gang. We are back. Oh, and Christy has on a festive mask. So are there any good of the order, good for the order updates that folks would like to share? I think we had a really robust conversation last week, and I know people really took a lot away from that. Actually, this past week had a chance to have a conversation with a couple of different Head Start programs across the state that have not been participating that much with us on these Zooms. And their questions were, well, can you tell us what other programs are doing with regard to COVID-19? And it was kind of funny. I said, well, just yesterday we had a really great conversation. And so I think there is great value in having those. We don't necessarily have to have it every week, but I think that you can expect to have sort of the roundtable conversation again when we rejoin with one another in January. We will not be meeting next week nor the week after because I know that folks will be on a holiday break. So we will reconvene in January and I will send some information about that. Amanda, you have an update about the All In initiative.
Yeah, not an update. I have gotten a couple of replies from folks about some of the work that they've done to help promote the All In initiative. But as you guys are starting to take a look at that information and get it out there, if you can just let me know, again, trying to build that partnership with the folks over at Protection and Permanency, because they're getting asked a lot from their folks. So as you guys are doing that, if you'll just let me know, copy me on emails or whatever makes the most sense, just let me know what you're working on so I can let them know that. Thanks.
Yep, excellent. All right, any other thoughts or comments that folks would like to share? All right, I'm not seeing any. We've got a couple of good comments in the chat regarding Kentucky Skills U and how programs have been collaborating. I would encourage you to take a look at that. And again, like I said, I'll send out some information along with this Zoom recording later today. Unless there's anything else, we will go ahead and adjourn our meeting. I hope everyone has a great week and everyone has a happy holiday season. A little bit of time off, a little bit chance to recharge. So thank you all so very much, and be sure to let us know if you need anything. We'll talk to you again soon.